For all the power of Cybertron.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. For today's video, we're going to be checking out the Blokees Transformers 1 Classic Class Sentinel Prime, which is based on what may just be the most deceptive take that we've so far seen for this character, and as far as the robot mode goes, appears to take some inspiration from the Transformers animated design. So as we check out the details, the head sculpt is surprisingly fairly close, and unlike some of their earlier entries, appears to be actually in proportion with the rest of the design. The chest unit is incredibly detailed, and this time appears to be vaguely similar to that of the Transformers Dark of the Moon version. I also think the plastic quality is fairly decent, especially considering that this is a model kit, and seeing as this guy does not transform, the back is equally as detailed and as accurate as the front, even down to the wings of the jet, which when in this form do double as a pretty wicked looking cape. Now, flying through his accessories, up first we do see the return of the double-sided sword, which is most definitely a throwback to the weapon that Sentinel did use in the Transformers 3 movie. To pair alongside that is one fully energized battle shield, this time complete with a full-blown Cybertronian blaster. And as part of Sentinel Prime's battle mode, he also includes two boosters, a pair of over-the-shoulder cannons, two missile pods which are specifically designed for the lower legs, as well as a full-blown interchangeable battle mask. Then, in addition to the pair of open hands, Sentinel is also packing a pair of gripping hands. Then finally, Sentinel is also packing a full-blown display base, which he can use when in both robot and battle mode. Now, flying through Sentinel Prime's posability, even this again is a pretty big step up in comparison to some of their earlier Rise of the Beast figures. So to begin with, the wings are ball jointed, so can be positioned in pretty much any way that you'd like, and the same can also be said here for the head sculpt, which in particular is amazing, especially for getting this guy into some of those in-flight poses. The shoulders can kick both forwards and backwards, as well as they're out to the side, the elbow can bend, and I guess also technically acts as the bicep joint, the wrists are ball jointed, and the waist can be spun all the way around and can also be split into two individual components, which I think is by far one of the biggest features this guy's packing. The hips can kick both forwards and backwards, as well as they're out to the side, the thigh can spin, and the knee can bend slightly past 90, although when it comes down here to these ankles, these are ball jointed, meaning that they can rock both backwards and forwards as well as side to side, meaning that you are most definitely able to get this guy into again some pretty dynamic poses. But as I'm sure you guys will know by now, to see the true power of this Prime, the time has now come for us to put him through the pose test. Now, flying into some robot mode size comparisons, firstly we are bringing out the Transformers 1 mainline deluxe class Sentinel Prime, who appears to be pretty much spot on to the height of this guy. So if you are after a slightly more accurate alternative to this deluxe class, then I really do think that Blokees most definitely have you covered, especially in the accessory department. Next up we have both the Studio Series Transformers 1 deluxe class Optimus Prime and Megatron, and for those of you like myself who are after something to pair alongside this guy, I guess we are all going to have to be patient and wait for the Studio Series Sentinel Prime, which if any of the previous versions are anything to go by, again should be an absolute banger. Here is how he stacks up alongside the YOLO Park cogless version of both Orion packs, and again D16. Then finally, here is the Blokees Transformers Rise of the Beasts Classic Class Optimus Prime. Now to get Sentinel fully transformed into his battle mode, for the first step, take the lower chin piece and pop that bad boy clean off. You will then slap on the battle mask, which to be honest integrates really well into the design. You will then want to bring out the over the shoulder cannons and snap those into the shoulder pads. Then what you'll do is take the hands on both sides and detach these here away from the forearms. That will then allow you to begin to reposition the forearm armor on both sides, so that eventually they should be both looking like this. Once that's complete, we can now bring out the shield and attach it into this slot. For the next step, we are then going to spin down to the lower legs, take a hold of this armor plating and attach it on both sides. as we are now going to proceed to combine it along with the missile pods. So snap that section into that slot, and again guys, do the same for the second side, until eventually you should be left with something which is looking like this. Then for the final step, you are going to take a hold of the foot and attach it away from the ball joint, so that we can then take the boosters, slap these here onto the base to give Sentinel Prime the ability of flight. Blasting his way through the 13 primes, here we have Sentinel now fully transformed into his battle mode, and again appearing to be incredibly close to how he did appear in the movie. Now correct me if I'm wrong, but with the exception of maybe one scene, I do believe this was the only alternate transformation that we actually saw Sentinel transform into in the movie, and it is a pretty wicked looking combat mode, one that I'm honestly quite surprised to see pulled off at such a small scale. So, wrapping up on this review for the Blokees Transformers 1 Classic Class Sentinel Prime. Overall, this is definitely a pretty cool looking figure. I do think for a model kit, this guy is fairly easy to put together. As mentioned on the packaging, there is no glue, no clippers, nor any paint required in order to assemble Sentinel Prime, and the robot mode looks fantastic. I do believe right now, with the exception of maybe the upcoming Studio Series version, is likely to be the most accurate take on this character. He includes a shed ton of accessories, some which can even transform him into the full-blown battle mode that we did see in the movie. So definitely a really cool, fully articulated action figure, and I really do think one of the best from Blokees Classic Class lineup. I would love to get your guys' thoughts on Sentinel Prime down in the comment section below. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and until my next review, transform and roll out!